Bird migration is a fascinating phenomenon that has captured the curiosity of scientists and nature enthusiasts for centuries. Each year, billions of birds embark on incredible journeys across continents, covering thousands of miles in search of favorable breeding grounds, food sources, or milder climates. These migrations are not random, but rather a result of complex biological and environmental factors that drive birds to undertake these long and arduous journeys. Birds migrate for various reasons, including seasonal changes, availability of food, and breeding opportunities. Some birds travel in large flocks, while others migrate solo. The routes they take can be awe-inspiring, with some species crossing vast oceans, deserts, and mountain ranges. One of the most remarkable aspects of bird migration is the precision with which many species navigate their way across vast distances, often returning to the same breeding grounds year after year. Scientists believe that birds use a combination of celestial cues, landmarks, and even Earth's magnetic field to guide their migration. As we delve deeper into the world of bird migration, we uncover a wealth of knowledge about these incredible creatures and the challenges they face. By understanding and appreciating the intricacies of bird migration, we can better protect and conserve these vital species for future generations. Bird migration can be categorized into several types based on the patterns and distances of their journeys. One common type is short-distance migration, where birds travel relatively short distances, usually within the same continent, to escape harsh weather conditions or find better food sources. An example of a bird that undertakes short-distance migration is the American robin, which moves southward in North America during the winter months. Another type is medium-distance migration, where birds travel moderate distances, often between continents or regions. The European bee-eater is an example of a bird that exhibits medium-distance migration, traveling from Europe to Africa for the winter. Long-distance migration involves birds traveling thousands of miles across continents, often from breeding grounds in the northern hemisphere to wintering grounds in the southern hemisphere. The Arctic tern holds the record for the longest migration among birds, covering up to 71,000 kilometers round trip from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back. Some birds, like the bar-tailed godwit, undertake non-stop flights during their long-distance migrations, relying on fat reserves to fuel their journey. Altitudinal migration is another interesting type, where birds move up and down mountains in response to changing seasons. This type of migration allows birds to access different food sources and avoid harsh weather conditions at higher elevations. An example of a bird that exhibits altitudinal migration is the white-crowned sparrow in North America. Irregular migration patterns can also be observed in certain bird species, where individuals may not follow a specific route or timing each year. This irregularity can be influenced by factors such as food availability, weather conditions, or habitat changes. Understanding the different types of bird migration provides valuable insights into the diverse strategies that birds employ to survive and thrive in their environments. Bird migration is influenced by a myriad of factors that shape the timing, routes, and success of these incredible journeys. One of the primary drivers of bird migration is the changing seasons. As temperatures shift and daylight hours fluctuate, birds sense these environmental cues and instinctively know when it is time to migrate. The availability of food also plays a crucial role in triggering migration. Birds will travel to areas where food sources are abundant, ensuring their survival during the challenging winter months. Another key factor influencing bird migration is breeding behavior. Many bird species migrate to specific breeding grounds where they can find suitable mates and nesting sites. The urge to reproduce drives birds to undertake long and often perilous journeys to reach these breeding grounds. Geographic features such as mountains, rivers, and coastlines can act as natural barriers or facilitators of migration. Birds may follow these features as they navigate their way across vast distances, using them as landmarks to guide their journey. Weather conditions also have a significant impact on bird migration. Birds are sensitive to changes in wind patterns, temperature, and precipitation, which can either aid or hinder their progress during migration. For example, Strong tailwinds can help birds cover more ground with less effort, while storms or adverse weather conditions may force them to alter their flight paths or seek shelter. The age and experience of individual birds can influence their migration patterns. Young birds may follow older, more experienced individuals or learn migration routes through trial and error. In contrast, older birds may have established migration routes based on years of successful journeys. Human activities, such as habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change, are increasingly affecting bird migration patterns. Loss of critical stopover sites, disruption of food sources, and collisions with man-made structures pose significant threats to migratory birds. Conservation efforts are essential to mitigate these impacts and ensure the survival of migratory bird populations for future generations. Bird migration is a remarkable natural phenomenon, with some species undertaking incredibly long journeys across continents. Among these migratory marvels, the Arctic tern stands out for its impressive long-distance migration. This seabird holds the record for the longest migration route of any bird, traveling from its breeding grounds in the Arctic to its wintering grounds in the Antarctic and back again. The Arctic tern's annual round-trip journey spans an astonishing distance of up to 71,000 kilometers, as it follows a zigzagging route that takes it through multiple continents and across the entire length of the Atlantic Ocean. This epic migration allows the Arctic tern to experience 2 summers each year, taking advantage of the extended daylight hours and abundant food sources in both polar regions. Another bird known for its extraordinary long-distance migration is the bar-tailed godwit. This shorebird holds the record for the longest non-stop flight of any bird, covering a distance of over 11,000 kilometers without landing. During its migration from Alaska to New Zealand, the bar-tailed godwit relies on its remarkable endurance and fat reserves to sustain itself during the grueling journey. The godwit's migration route takes it across the open ocean, where it faces challenges such as adverse weather conditions and the risk of exhaustion. Despite these obstacles, the bar-tailed godwit's incredible feat of endurance showcases the remarkable adaptability and resilience of migratory birds. The sooty shearwater is another species renowned for its long-distance migration. These seabirds travel an impressive 64,000 kilometers round trip from their breeding grounds in New Zealand to foraging areas in the North Pacific Ocean. Sooty shearwaters follow a figure-8 migration pattern, crossing the equator twice during their journey. This extensive migration allows the shearwaters to take advantage of seasonal variations in food availability and ocean productivity. The sooty shearwater's migration route takes it through diverse marine habitats, where it encounters a wide range of environmental conditions and potential threats. By studying these long-distance migratory birds, scientists gain valuable insights into the remarkable capabilities and adaptations that enable birds to undertake some of the most extraordinary journeys in the animal kingdom. Technology plays a crucial role in advancing our understanding of bird migration. Scientists use a variety of tools and techniques to track and study migratory birds, providing valuable insights into their behavior and ecology. One of the most common methods is the use of satellite telemetry, where small tracking devices are attached to birds to monitor their movements in real time. These devices allow researchers to map out migration routes, identify stopover sites, and study the factors influencing bird migration. Radar technology is another powerful tool used in bird migration research. Doppler radar systems can detect and track bird movements in the sky, providing information on the timing and intensity of migration events. Citizen science projects, such as eBird, also contribute to bird migration research by collecting data from birdwatchers around the world. By harnessing the power of technology and collaboration, scientists can unravel the mysteries of bird migration and inform conservation efforts to protect these vital species. Interesting fact, the MODIS Wildlife Tracking System is a network of automated radio telemetry stations that track the movements of small birds, bats, and insects across the Americas, providing valuable data on their migration patterns and behavior. Climate change is having profound impacts on bird migration patterns and behaviors, posing significant challenges to migratory species around the world. One of the most noticeable effects of climate change on bird migration is the alteration of timing and routes. Warmer temperatures and changing weather patterns are causing shifts in the availability of food sources and the timing of seasonal events, such as flowering and insect emergence. As a result, some bird species are adjusting their migration schedules, arriving earlier or later than usual at their breeding or wintering grounds. These changes can disrupt the delicate balance of ecosystems and impact the survival and reproductive success of migratory birds. Another impact of climate change on bird migration is the loss and alteration of critical habitats. Rising sea levels, habitat destruction, and changes in vegetation cover are reducing the availability of suitable stopover sites and breeding grounds for migratory birds. This loss of habitat can lead to increased competition for resources, higher predation rates, and reduced breeding success for migratory species. Climate change is also affecting the distribution and abundance of food sources along migration routes. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns can alter the availability of insects, seeds, and other food items that birds rely on during their journeys. This disruption in food availability can force birds to travel longer distances, expend more energy, and face higher risks of starvation. Interestingly, some bird species are exhibiting adaptive responses to climate change by shifting their ranges and behaviors. For example, studies have shown that certain bird species are expanding their breeding ranges northward in response to warming temperatures. However, these adaptive responses may not be sufficient to offset the overall negative impacts of climate change on bird migration. Conservation efforts are crucial to mitigate the effects of climate change on migratory birds. Protecting and restoring critical habitats, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and promoting sustainable land use practices are essential steps to safeguard migratory species and their habitats for future generations. Conservation efforts for migratory birds are essential to protect these vital species and ensure their survival in the face of increasing threats. One of the key strategies in bird conservation is the establishment of protected areas and wildlife reserves along migratory routes and at critical stopover sites. These protected areas provide safe havens for birds to rest, feed, and breed during their long journeys, helping to maintain healthy populations and preserve biodiversity. For example, the East Asian Australasian Flyway, one of the world's major bird migration routes, is supported by a network of protected areas spanning from the Arctic to Australia, providing crucial habitat for millions of migratory birds. Another important conservation measure is the implementation of international agreements and conventions to coordinate efforts across borders and address common conservation challenges. The Convention on Migratory Species, CMS, and the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands are examples of international treaties that aim to protect migratory birds and their habitats through collaborative conservation actions. These agreements facilitate cooperation among countries to conserve shared bird species and promote sustainable management of key habitats. Conservation organizations and research institutions play a vital role in monitoring migratory bird populations, studying their behaviors, and identifying conservation priorities. By conducting research on migratory routes, habitat requirements, and threats facing migratory birds, scientists can inform conservation strategies and management practices to mitigate risks and enhance protection efforts. Citizen science initiatives, such as birdwatching programs and community-based monitoring projects, also contribute to conservation efforts by engaging the public in bird conservation and data collection. For example, the Great Backyard Bird Count encourages bird enthusiasts worldwide to observe and record bird sightings, providing valuable data for scientists and conservationists. Education and outreach programs are crucial components of conservation efforts for migratory birds, raising awareness about the importance of bird migration, threats they face, and actions individuals can take to support conservation. By promoting bird-friendly practices such as reducing light pollution, planting native vegetation, and advocating for habitat protection, communities can contribute to the conservation of migratory birds and their habitats. In conclusion, bird migration is a fascinating and complex phenomenon that showcases the remarkable abilities of avian species to navigate vast distances and overcome numerous challenges. From the Arctic tern's record-breaking journey to the adaptive responses of migratory birds to climate change, the world of bird migration is filled with awe-inspiring stories and scientific discoveries. Conservation efforts play a crucial role in protecting migratory birds and their habitats, ensuring the continued survival of these important species for future generations. Now, I welcome any questions you may have about bird migration, conservation efforts, or any other related topics. Let's continue our exploration of the incredible journeys of migratory birds together.